Welcome this morning to the second lesson in our series, Co-Parenting. I'm happy this morning to have you sharing in this session. I believe that it is important for us to talk about co-parenting because it is a very important thing that we need to discuss as we look at how it impacts our children. And so I'm so delighted to be here. I'm Patroy Reeves, the men program manager for the Wellness Center. And I am happy today to, share this very, very interesting lesson because we know there are a lot of men who are struggling with this important aspect of co-parenting. And so I want to give you an insight of how you can be effective co-parenting. And so today we'll be focusing on communication skills for co-parenting. It's important for us as we build better conversation and have a healthier relationship as we seek to grow and to nurture our children for the future. And so today's session, our objective is by the end of this session, we want for participants to learn and apply active listening and empathy skills as you partner together to raise your children. I know it is not easy because when you're separated as parents, there are many factors and things that continue to impact your relationship. But for the sake of the child, you have to make co-parenting, the focus is the child or the children, right? Practicing giving constructive feedback and recognizing nonverbal clues are very important because, in communication is the foundation of any relationship. If there's no effective communication, then what will happen? The relationship will break down and the children's well-being will not be given the type of attention that they need to get. And there are too many of our children in our society today who are experiencing dysfunctional homes, parents who are distracted by their hurt, by situations that they are encountering and going through. And so this lesson's objective is to help you to cope, to help you to grow, to strive. And so I want to bring to your attention understanding and implementing healthy communication boundaries are also vital to both parents as you strive. And so today, my focus is really trying to get our men who have this very tedious task of managing two homes, your home that you have to attend to and the home where your child is living in. Now, participating in this session will help you to learn and to able to be effective as a co-parent. Now, why communication matters in co-parenting? And so this is a very important question that I want to ask and to give you solutions that can help you to be better at co-parenting. Now, communication is the foundation of a successful co-parenting relationship, right? Nothing works if we don't communicate effective. Now, you can imagine if you're trying to achieve this by not speaking to each other respectfully, by sharing vital information on time, because communicating in this very difficult environment where there is disagreement oftentimes is important. It helps when you communicate effective to reduce the stress, the conflicts that do arise when you have to co-parent. And so healthy communication minimize misunderstanding, reduce conflict and focus and foster trust rather. And so it is important for your children or your child who you're co-parent to see that there is trust among the parents, right? Because children become very anxious and oftentimes they are more affected because they draw from your attitude, your behavior towards each other. They want to see trusted parents, parents who are sharing and common objectives and goal together, right? And so children benefit emotionally when parents, right, communicate respectfully and calmly, even when they disagree. So, can we disagree but yet still be respectful to each other? And I know it's difficult for men. Men are logical thinkers. Women are emotional person, and so women, they tend to oftentimes will hold things, and so we want to encourage our men, particular fathers, whether you're new or you're senior in your co-parenting role. It is important for you to understand that without effective communication, you can have breakdown in your pursuit of raising your children, because you want to raise children who are outstanding, who have self-confidence, who grow up to know that they are important, they're valued, right? It's not about liking each other. It's about working as a team for the benefit of the child. And so you have to learn to put away your differences, right? And there are many things that you have to do in order to be an effective parent in co-parenting. And so what are some other things you can do? What is active listening? Oftentimes we don't listen to each other when we're dealing with these this partnership of co-parenting, right? Partnering, because you have to be co-parenting from two separate locations, two separate homes. So active listening means full concentration on what the other person is saying, rather than just waiting for your turn to speak. And men, we tend to have that weakness. We just want to get our point of view over, but we gotta be patient. We gotta be willing to wait and listen, right? Key elements including maintaining eye contact. It is very important as you build effective communication that you understand how to listen, how to be patient while you both are working through challenges and difficulties for the child's benefit, because co-parenting is hard. It's not easy, but it is possible. And how is it going to be possible? It means then you both have to be willing to sacrifice. You're going to have to be willing to whatever had caused that relationship to break, and you got to put those emotions away. You got to focus on the child. The child ought to be the primary focus. And so we're talking about learning to listen to each other, right? Maintaining eye contact, nod or affirming, I hear you, right? Not interrupting when the person is speaking. But just be patient, listen, right? Because this is for the interest of your child. Repeating back what you heard when somebody speak, that is active listening. So what are you saying? are are saying, right? This builds respect, reduce defensive, and encourage cooperation. You can't have an effective co-parenting without cooperation of both parents, right? And I'm sure as you make plans, as you have put in structure a plan to co-parent, you have to willing to work that plan, because the moment that you begin to violate that plan, not communicating effectively, not listening to each other, then you're going to have conflict, and it's going to have a negative impact on your child. And so, what are some of the other things that you have to do as we talk about active listening? You have to show empathy, means trying to understand the other parent's perspective, even if you don't agree, right? We will not always agree on everything, but for the good of a child, for the child to be safe, to be protected, and to know that the child is loved or the children are loved, you have to agree. You have to understand, to look at things from different perspective. Avoid dismissive dismissive languages like that's not true. You are always, things like these don't make good for good co-parenting. It impacts and it brings a negative impact, not just on you who are trying to co-parent, but on the child who you're trying to help, to nurture, and to grow. So try saying, I can see how you might see the thing that way, right? But always strive to use empathy. Empathy helps to de-escalate the tension and to keep the focus on the child rather than whole emotional hurt, because it's always easy to bring up the past and what has caused the relationship to be broken and all the varied factors that might have happened in the past. But let's strive to make the child the focus, the priority in the co-parent relationship. We're talking about effective communication. And effective communication is hard work. You gotta have to work at it day after day. You gotta have to strive to do that. So practicing empathy is important. Now, constructive feedback versus criticism is also a very important thing in effective communication as co-parenting, because many persons are being impacted because of how we respond to each other in times of crisis, right? And are in times of mishap, right? So constructive feedback is about improving, not blaming, right? So you want to avoid certain things, right? I feel overwhelmed when the schedule changes last minute. Yes, it do happen because we all have busy life, we all have jobs and we have to attend. But we have to strive to understand that even if something go wrong, constructive feedback versus criticism is always better. Yeah. Don't say you always messed up the schedule. Focus on the behavior, not the person, right? Keep the tone calm and the message clear. It is important that when we communicate, let our messages be clear. Let our message be one of love, respect, right? Because we are striving for the best result, right? We want to see our children do well. And if we are not doing well as parents trying to co-parent, then the child is going to be negatively impacted by that. And so strive to understand that you have to work hard. Understanding nonverbal communication is important. And this is something that I know for men we struggle with. When myself and my wife were raising our daughter, oftentimes, you know, how we respond says a lot, right? Body language, tone, and facial expression often communicate more than words. And so we have to be careful how we respond to our co-parenting partner who's trying their endeavor best to communicate effectively, right? So nonverbal clues to watch for. What are some of these nonverbal clues that we have to pay attention to? Crossed or arms defensively, right? So let the posture be warm. Let it not be one that you're creating any situation that will cause problem for you trying to work together for the good of your child. Raising your voice, frustration or anger. These are things we have to avoid. Understanding and nonverbal communication that they can impede and impact your effort in trying to work from two different homes, raising your children, right? I rolling, it's very disrespectful. Be calm. I'm encouraging our men, particular fathers who are raising children, be calm. Don't be hungry. It's easy sometimes to become overwhelmed, but let's focus on the child's well-being. Let's focus on the child. Be mindful of your own nonverbal signs, because oftentimes we observe the person's behavior and action, but oftentimes we are not paying attention to ourselves. But we have to turn the light on ourselves to understand that our behavior also can create problem in that relationship. We must observe our co-parents. Each other must observe each other. We when we do that, right, it reveals deeply some of the things that are beneath the surface that we're experiencing, what's really going on beneath the surface. And so let's strive. If you're having challenges, seek mediation, seek a friend, find a system, have a system in place where you can deal with the challenges that you're having emotionally, but don't let it be borne out that it impact your child well-being and impact the relationship as you try to co-parent. Now, setting healthy communication boundaries are also important for both parties if you're going to serve the best interests of your child, right? today in our world today, there are so many broken homes, there are so many dysfunctional families, and oftentimes the child suffers the most within these things. But I'm encouraging you, fathers, and if there's a mother here online watching, I'm encouraging you to understand that the focus, whenever it comes on to co-parenting, is not about both parents, it's about the children's well-being. Boundaries protect your mental and emotional health. So it is important to establish healthy boundaries, right? And so setting healthy communication boundaries is essential to have a successful co-parenting relationship. Example of communication boundaries. What are some of these examples that we must know, right? Let's keep conversation focused on the kids. I keep saying it, I keep repeating it. Let it be the child, let it be the children focus, let it be the child's clear. If you keep it on focus on the child, you mitigate having problems. Like let's text instead of call when emotions are high. So one person failed to pick up the child at the given time. One person is not available to take the child to the doctor, or whatever agreement that was agreed upon, and someone mess up. Communicate effective. Set boundaries that you don't impede and impact each other as you try to co-parent. I am not available to talk after 8 p.m. unless it's urgent. These are very important boundaries to set and to understand and to repeat and to reinforce. So, and ensure, right, enforce boundaries calmly but consistently. Boundaries aren't punishment, they are agreement that support peace. You want peace and harmony in the relationship in co-parenting. It is important for, I know that the world in which we're living is chaotic. There are a lot of stress, there are a lot of things happening, financial challenges, job insecurity. All of these factors are impeding and bringing so much weight on parents. But I am encouraging you, if you're going to have a healthy co-parent relationship, setting healthy communication boundaries is essential for peace of mind and for the well-being of your child. And so use apps like Your Family Wiz, Talking Parents, Two House. These are tools that mitigate problems and challenges in terms of you don't have to have conflict, right? Use the right tools that are available. And too many parents are ignoring or don't pay attention to the things that triggers, right? Because once you have a broken relationship, divorce, and didn't get proper counseling, didn't get over, didn't heal from the hurt or whatever. And sometimes, oftentimes, some parents go again into a new relationship too quick without resolving certain situation, and it creates problem. But these tools are important. Document your conversation, and I want to say to you that these apps are tools that helps you to be accountable. It holds you accountable as parents as you try to co-parent, helping manage your schedule, create neutral communication zones, right? Great for high conflict situation. While life discussion may not be productive, you might not able to take up the phone and call each other because of the high intensity of the situation, but you need to understand that these tools are very important. Communication platforms for co-parenting is important. Your Family Wiz, Talking Parents, and Two House is very important to use to mitigate the problems that you will face or encounter, because it's unavoidable when you're co-parenting that you won't have challenges, but it is important to know you have to strive to do so. Now, in this 6-week course that I'm doing, I really want to have had a time where we had parents meet in our conference room to do some uh, role play exercises that will help you to understand how to get through the challenges that you will face as you co-parenting. But if we are not able to do so, I still encourage you to understand, to read, to have discussion, and get yourself a good community. There are many communities online that you can join to help you understand how to be better at co-parenting, practicing some very important things that we're discussing. If you don't put them in play, it's not just good to hear what I'm saying, but you have to apply. Application is important. If we don't apply the principles that we learn in co-parenting, it's going to make our life very hard and difficult, right? Additional resources is always needed in co-parenting. Communication is the foundation of a successful co-parenting relationship. So key communication, not just any communication, but healthy communication. Healthy communication minimize misunderstanding, reduces conflicts, and foster trust. And that is what the whole objective is, that we want our children to see that between parents, there's trust, there's love, there's understanding. Because whatever you exemplified around them, you're molding them, you're shaping them for the future. And you don't want your children to grow up and to have the same encounters and the same challenges that you had in your relationship, but you want them to have a healthy relationship. Children benefit emotionally when parents communicate respectfully, calmly, even when they disagree. And so I'm just re-emphasizing some of the points that we had uh, previously talked about, right? It is not about liking each other. It's about working as a team for the child's benefit or the children's benefit. That we have to stay child focused in co-parenting, because you're operating from two separate homes. Probably, again, you have started a new family. And so combining these family at times when your children has to meet and share, you share responsibility, you share time. So communication is important. And so this morning, I just want to say thanks to all those who were able to join our program this morning on co-parenting. Communication is essential and important. And so I want to say to those who have joined, I would encourage you to go back over this discussion we had this morning on the importance of communication, the importance of doing the right thing for the best interest of your children. Too many of our children are hurting and are suffering because parents are unwilling to work together, unwilling to communicate effectively. And so thanks again. And I'll ask that you share this information, and we're looking forward to have you next week when we get together in another session on co-parenting. And I trust that you will have a blessed and productive day today. Thank you.